is just fantastic.
Captain's log, subdate 210624.2. We've started processing the thoughts, and we've also managed to insert a certain Ferengi into this particular batch. He did his duty and navigated the maze, and his reward is sharing a cell with Jimmy Savile. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with the police in the United Kingdom, who, as many of you will know from more recent exhibitions of stupid people, are an absolute joke. But don't worry, the bar, it can't go much lower, right? You'd be wrong. For this we insert former Acting Chief Superintendent Novelette Robin Williams, who was long considered and touted as someone who could have become the first black commissioner of Scotland Yard. Well, that's long gone, and she'll be lucky to attain much more than a simple frontline desk bobby. And the reason for that is because in 2019, she was sacked because she was caught in possession of child pornography. But there is context, and it wasn't until recently we learnt about the context and the consequences and the fallout. Because she was caught in possession of child pornography, she was put on the sex offenders registry and convicted for possessing it. At the tribunal for unfair dismissal, because she believed she was, well, the tribunal decided, because they don't like to be seen as less of a joke to everyone else, ruled that the dismissal was unfair and unreasonable. The reason why was because the child pornography found on her phone was sent to her by her sister for her to investigate. Give it a moment, you'll get there. As an additional bonus to this, she has now gotten her job back, Novelette Robin Williams that is, and is also expected to receive back pay for missed earnings. Her salary was $80,000 a year. Is anyone else starting to suspect that perhaps the UK needs an overhaul and replacement with street judges yet? I'm more than happy to oblige. Just for the sake of the full context, her sister Jennifer Hodge, who is a social worker, shared a video with 17 people on WhatsApp of a 5-year-old girl who was being abused. She also told her sister, "Sorry, had to send this. It's so sad that this person would put this out. Please post this and let's hope he gets life." If anyone uses WhatsApp, you'll know that if anyone sends you a media file, your phone automatically downloads it. So when Novelette Robin Williams says that she did not see it, there is a tiny possibility that she is in fact telling the truth. But to be honest, I side with the prosecutors who believe there is no chance you missed a 54-second clip, because after it was sent, she had sent to her sister, "Please call." I'm not entirely sure if there's much more I can add to this bonkers story, other than to say that the Met Police and Scotland Yard and anyone involved in this at the tribunal are knucking futs. So next we're going to go to another British institution that is also a bit of a joke. The NHS. Don't worry, there's one more British institution, you saw it on the thumbnail. Sonia Appleby, who is a professional for safeguarding children at the Tavistock Centre, recently kind of got frozen out from doing her duty. Now, the Tavistock Centre is usually associated with transgender people, children more notably who are going through that change, who are being diagnosed and assisted in whatever way they can assist. It is known and recognised as the only gender clinic in the UK. And the reason why she's been frozen out is because a number of concerned staffers at the trust and beyond, which would include GPs and parents, started to complain about a doctor called Helen Webberley. These complaints go to Sonia Appleby. Helen Webberley runs the private practice gender GP from abroad. In late 2017, the General Medical Council temporarily stopped Dr. Webberley from working as a doctor while they conducted an investigation into a string of complaints around her work with trans patients. The main accusations were that she was failing to follow the approach favoured by the NHS doctors, which she says is a model criticised time and again for being overly restrictive and even discriminatory to trans individuals. You know, the kind that actually requires evidence instead of feelings. So many of the complaints centred around the fact, more recently, that she was simply providing puberty blockers to any and all under the age of 16. I have said many times what I think about puberty blockers. I don't support them at all. I really don't. Sonia Appleby had raised these concerns to bosses, and then because of that was unable to take her work any further. Because she raised her complaints to mental health services, GPs, parents, and suggested they remove their children from Dr. Webley's care, led to her being ostracized by NHS bosses, which for, let's face it now, nonsensical reasons because people don't seem to follow procedure because of their own insert reasons here, has led to her now suing the NHS Child Gender Clinic for freezing her out and preventing her from doing her job. What's the point of her having the job, or anyone having the job, if they're unable to provide the criticism required? And that's what this is about. Criticism. As there is no conclusion to this particular case, I will of course update you in a future video, as I am quite intrigued, as I'm sure many of you are, with what the result could well be. So defund the BBC. Yes, we're doing this again. Defund the BBC. I have been quite vocal in my opposition to the national institution that is license required television, or to be correctly named, license. A strange word to have a privilege to use a television. I'm waiting for the day they decide to extend that to include monitors. I know they've already done it for streaming services. That can go and get well and truly balked. When coupled with its utterly unoriginal programming, rehashing of period dramas, soaps that are entertaining, and all other wokeness they've been inserting over the last 5 years, I take great issue with the BBC for wasting money on frivolous things like building a new set for its soap, EastEnders, that has gone massively over budget, for all but ruining Doctor Who to the point where there are only a few episodes of the more recent 2 Doctors that are actually okay, or characters. It is doing the actors and actresses dirty and ruining a legacy. You know your show's bad when Colin Baker is rated a better Doctor than yours. Another reason I take great issue with the BBC though is because it is a discriminatory system, and I can prove that. Because the BBC is advertising a 1-year trainee production management role in Glasgow, but the application is open only to Black, Asian and ethnically diverse candidates. The argument here being that while positive discrimination is illegal, positive action is allowed for trainee roles. This is quite fascinating to me because a few years ago I had spoken about there being a very much no-white application process for certain creative arts works jobs in the BBC, and I flayed it then. I will do so now. You can make the argument that this is positive action, but by doing so you have made it clear to the person who's got the job the only reason they got the job was because of the colour of their skin, not the merit of the person, and certainly not because of anything they bring to the table, which last I checked was given a different name, affirmative action, but under a different title. Well done. Bravo. You f***ing smegheads. And to finish the segment on the BBC, hashtag defund the BBC. The sooner the better, and abolish the license for television. To our final subject and main event, we go to Scarlett Johansson. Many of you will know her as an Oscar-nominated actress who portrayed Natasha Romanoff, aka the Black Widow, in the MCU's Avengers movies, Captain America movies, Iron Man movies. The character of the Black Widow has been played for over 10 years in the MCU, and the film The Black Widow should be coming out soon. It was pushed back because of coronavirus. I actually hope it does well, of course I do. It'll be nice to give Natasha Romanoff a bit of a send-off, unless it does well enough that they decide to want to insert a second movie, which is actually okay as well, to be honest. Well, Scarlett Johansson, having made millions portraying this character, not so much in Iron Man 2, making a lot of money with a very, very unique character that was both sexy and deadly, has decided to speak out about the hypersexualization of her character in Iron Man 2, which was the movie where her character was introduced, but also a movie that, to be honest, laid a lot of the groundwork for what followed, which is a point I feel I have to raise, and I'm also astonished that it took her 11 years to speak up about this. Go figure, it would be after she received millions, tens of millions, If the rumour about what she earned for Winter Soldier is anything to go by, yeah, she made absolute bank. No harm there, of course. It's just interesting that you waited to say something when you're a lot older and a lot richer. Also, I want to point out, it's a tad strange because these kind of characters have a vast amount of source material, so one would think they would invest their time into better understanding the character they're portraying, which quite a few of them actually do. If Scarlett Johansson had done that as well though, she'd know this about her character, being both deadly and sexy, what with the whole spy assassin thing, how she was trained, where she came from, her infiltration abilities. But also I stand by what I earlier said about the franchise. A lot of the successes for the MCU, and certainly Phase 1, or what was called Phase 1 when it concluded, came because they hedged their bets on certain characters. There are many other characters within the MCU, or the Marvel Comics, that never featured in the Avengers, that could have featured in the Avengers and are only getting time now. But they chose their strongest characters, and they chose their best actresses and actors. Although if memory serves, I believe Emily Blunt was initially meant to be the first choice. I think they chose right when they went with Scarlett. Anyway, as we're done, I'd like to know what you all think, so please do let me know in the comments down below. I shall be streaming on Twitch tonight, some murder fun time. If I don't see you there, have a fantastic day, and thank you all very much for listening.